Hi everyone. For today's video, I want to show you how to make these little face scrubbies. For this, we'll need just a couple of supplies. You'll need a yarn darning needle in order to weave in your ends. It is possible to weave them in without the darning needle, but it makes it much more difficult to do it with just your crochet hook. But I have done it before with just the crochet hook, but yarn darners are much more nicer. I am using a 4mm crochet hook for this project. We'll also need a pair of scissors in order to cut our yarn. Now for our yarn selection, because I am making mine for kind of a slight exfoliating face scrubby, I am using the Sugar and Cream. It's a number 4 weight worsted weight cotton, fully cotton yarn. This one's called Strawberry. Now, if you want one that doesn't exfoliate, I would recommend to use the Lion brand Comfy Cotton Blend, which it's much softer. In a previous video, I actually made loofahs using that yarn, and I'll actually link that video in the description for you. To begin these, what we're going to want to do is start by creating a magic circle. So hold your yarn end, the tail end, between your thumb and your forefinger, and then just wrap around your fingers so that the working end is on top. Then I just kind of push it to the bottom or to the back, and then bring your hook underneath the center of the circle, pull up a loop, and then we're going to chain 1. Now for this, what we're going to want to do is create a puff stitch. So we want to make 6 of those into here. So how we make that is yarn over, go into the ring, pull up a loop, yarn over, go into the ring, pull up a loop, yarn over, go into the ring, and pull up a loop. Now if we count, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops on our hook. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 7 loops and then chain 1. And we just want to continue making that until we have 6 puffs. 1, 2, 3, yarn over, go through all 3, chain 1. Oop. And if you have any issues like I just did where you pulled your ring so the tail came too looped or came too tight, lost the end, just give it a little bit of a tug and it'll tighten it up so you can bring out that tail a little more to continue working. All right, now that we've made our 6 puffs, go ahead and pull the tail of our magic ring in order to close it. Then what we want to do is slip stitch into our first chain 1 of the round in order to join. All right, and now you can go ahead and count your stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So what we're going to want to do now is chain 1. Now into that same stitch that we came out of, we want to make another puff stitch there. and chain 1. And then we want to go into our next stitch, which was the stitch that tied everything all together on our last puff. We want to make a puff stitch there also. And then we just want to continue going all the way around. So our first row had 6 puffs. This one is going to have 12 puffs total. All right, and then you want to slip stitch into your first chain 1 of your round in order to join. And there we are, we have round 2. For round 3, we're going to chain 1. And then we want to, once again, do a puff stitch into that first stitch we came out of. And then into the next stitch, which is stitch right above that tied together our previous row's puff. Do a puff into there too. And chain 1. Make sure to chain 1 after each puff. And then this one, that chain 1 in between. And we're just going to continue around, and this row will end up having a total of 24 puff stitches made. and then slip stitch into your first chain 1 of your round in order to join. Now, if you don't want a handle, you can always just tie off and weave in your ends from here. Or if you want the little handle, go ahead and chain 15. Then come back and slip stitch into the same space where you came out of. Turn your work, and from here I find the little back bumps of my chain, and I just go ahead and slip stitch into each one of those back bumps. That just makes it so the strap is, or the little handle is, you know, nice, pretty, uniform, and it creates a very nice little finish for it, which I think is very nice, especially if you're gifting these. It's not much of an extra little step, adds quite a bit, and then it allows also for you to hang them in your bathrooms. Now, I don't know about you, but my tub tends to catch water around the edges, so nothing, if I set them down in my shower, they will never dry inside of there. So I like the little command hooks and just hang everything right off of my shower walls. And then slip stitch in order to join, pull up a loop, cut off your yarn. I do like to leave the tails slightly long. That's just so it makes it easier to weave in. It's easier to cut off extra than it is to add. And then just thread your yarn into the darning needle, and then just weave in your leftover ends. And then you'll still have this one in the back in order to weave in. But there we are. We have our little puff stitches, or our puff scrubbies. Now, for also with these, if you want just like a kitchen scrubby, they do have that one. I would recommend more like a acrylic yarn, or there's also another type of yarn they have now that is specific scrubby yarn. It's much more rough and abrasive, but if this is anything for your face, I recommend don't using those. And then it also makes nice for a little hold on to for while washing. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it that little thumbs up on it, and let me know what your thoughts are also into the comments. And if you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that little subscribe button and hit that little bell right next to it, and it'll give you a notice every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.